Good morning. Hope you're all okay on this lovely Friday morning, and I hope you are looking forward to your weekend. And the kids being home for 2 weeks next week. We now move on to the Horwich and Blackrod Labour that I know many of you have been looking forward to. It's going to be interesting. Get yourself a brew. Always tastes better in a Horwich and Blackrod first mug. And so we begin. So let's see what we have. You only have to go to the top of the page. That was the sound of my soul leaving my body. Pro tip to whoever's wrote this. If you are ever going to write a leaflet that you are going to distribute around Blackrod, don't call it your Horwich. Just don't. What I don't understand is the Horwich North East one is called the Labour Rose. It's generic and it would fit anywhere. I don't understand the mentality in this, unless all they want to do is go for Bridge and Vale Ward and completely ignore Blackrod. I'm confused. Poor form. However, all those receiving this will be very pleased to know they are yet again delivering it free of charge to your area. So you don't have to dip your hand in your pocket. Let's get on. They lead with the story of the Great British Railways. Yep, great. At least they've managed to spell it correctly, which is better than the Tory council could. It leads by saying that they are supporting the decision to bring it here. They had nothing to do with it. Stephen Chadwick of HBFI submitted a request to Martin Cox and all the council leaders in January to say that we wanted this. We're doing a separate video on this that we're just finishing editing because it is a bit of a scandal. It's a betrayal of the trust that we had within Bolton. But Labour had nothing to do with it. They're saying that they support it, etc. It should be about our local history. Well, judging by the top of the leaflet, she hasn't got a clue about our local history, to be honest. Steve Chadwick brought this up. He went through all the history, and we went through the bid. We believe Horwich was the better place for the headquarters, with its motorway links, its links to businesses. We've got 2 railway stations, and we have land at the local which is under development, which means it would be viable for levelling up funding. It meets all the criteria. It may be we might have to clean up some areas from the asbestos pits and things like that, but remember, Labour were going to stick a school on them originally in the original plans. So, you know, suddenly it's a problem that there's asbestos there when they want to build a building. Long story short, Bolton Council cut Horwich out without informing the ward councillors. They just decided to do it and not tell us, which isn't open, honest, nor transparent, which is the key theme throughout the Conservative leaflets. That's what they promise you, but that's not what you get. The rest of the front page is as it was in the Horwich North East. On the next page, yeah, now we get to the bit that has rattled some people. Labour's Karen Millington going on about the regeneration funds to Blackrod. It doesn't tell you that it was Blackrod Labour ward members at the time, historic, but she's bringing this up as a historical thing. They didn't inform Blackrod that they could actually apply for this funding, and as such they didn't lobby on behalf of Blackrod. So Blackrod was completely missed out of the town centre regeneration funding. Furthermore, she goes on in here to say that the steering group had very graciously cut Blackrod out a chunk. I mean, there is now money available for Blackrod, and it's going through the process at the moment of consultation and getting the costings worked up. But it wasn't Labour that did this. It wasn't the town centre steering group that did this. Ultimately, of course, it's up to them, and they did include them. But had one member of your community not stood up and asked the question, you wouldn't be getting any money at Blackrod. And don't take my word for it. Here it is in the Bolton News in October 2019. And I'll read it out to you. Blackrod's town mayor asked why Blackrod had not been considered for the £1 million fund when neighbouring Horwich had, saying he feels pushed out. Blackrod is represented alongside Horwich at Bolton Council. It is Horwich and Blackrod ward. At a Horwich and Blackrod area forum, the town mayor, John Price, said, I feel a little pushed out. I do find it a little bit hurtful that people tend to ignore us. Blackrod has often been let out. Mr. Price had support, and this is important because it wasn't even HBFI at the time, because we didn't click. It was like we just got elected at the town council, just got 2 councillors at Bolton, and we were all like finding our feet. So this was our first area forum, and for Councillor Price to actually stand up, it was a light bulb moment. It's like, oh yeah, why are they not? And being community focused and wanting the best for our town centres, Craig also spoke up at that meeting. Mr. Price had support from Horwich leaders, with Town Councillor Craig Rotherham saying, we do feel Blackrod has been cast aside. And it is very unfair. It is part of Horwich and Blackrod ward. They have not got a town centre on the scale of Horwich's, but they do have a town centre, and it is in need of investment. So on the back of that, HBFI, through our chair of the steering group at the time, then agreed for Blackrod to come together with some ideas through the neighbourhood plan. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been difficulties along the way. I hope they've now been ironed out. I wasn't part of the steering group at the time. So I think they've been ironed out, and I think the plan is moving forward. But make no mistake, this was not a HBFI thing. It was not a Labour thing. It was John Price, your local councillors who's standing up for you. We just supported him in getting the money, and you know, people shouldn't be taking credit for other people's work. It's wrong. So I salute you, Mr. Price, Mr. Blackrod, as always. And that's it. So people are really angry at the fact that's gone down. And don't take my word for it. Don't take the Bolton News word for it. Go and speak to your local councillors who are not HBFI. John Price is an independent. Alan Berry, have a chat with him. He's Labour. And finally, you know, any of them really. Your local councillors will tell you exactly what's happened. Don't believe what's in some of these leaflets at all. The rest is pretty generic. It's exactly the same as was in Horwich North East one. For some reason in the Blackrod one, they put Tories reject Labour plans to clean up our streets. Now in the Horwich one, it was Tories and independents reject Labour's plan to clean up our streets. We've been through that. They wanted to create a hub where they then get control of their funds again, rather than through the CVS. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a little bit about Karen Millington. It is just a bog standard bio. It's not even a bio, to be fair. It doesn't tell you that she's from West Orton. Doesn't tell you she has links to the area. If I'm honest, from my perspective, this would be effectively a paper candidate. They realise they're not going to win. They've cobbled something together half-assed, and they're not really interested. They couldn't get somebody from the local community to stand in the ward, which is quite a shame. So that's it. That's it. Moving forward, if there's any more come, I will read through them. Sadly, we're not expecting anything from the Lib Dems. They always put a paper candidate up in Horwich and Blackrod ward. Ordinarily, my town councillor colleague, Councillor Stone, in the past has stood for Horwich North East. We understand he no longer wants to run for ward councillor. We believe, although it's not been officially announced yet, it's going to be Matt Allen. And again, it's just going to be a paper candidate. They're giving up on Horwich as well. Apparently there's meant to be Bolton for change. Why would we want Bolton to change? We want Horwich and Blackrod first. So very Bolton-centric messages there. If we get anything from the other Lib Dems, we will have a chat. Ryan and Sam at some point we'll get in the studio and do a couple of clips of their leaflet. So we'll even look at ours and critique, and yes, there's a couple of mistakes on ours. Nothing like these where we're making stuff up. It is just a couple of, don't get, we're all individuals, just a couple of grammatical errors on the leaflets as we rush through. It's one of those things where you say, everybody look at these leaflets, make sure it's all there. They'll go, yeah, it's fine. And then just as you hit the send button, you go, oh no. But we can take the criticism too. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your Friday with your HBFI mug. And if you've got any questions or want anything answering, please just drop me a line. I'm more than happy. I'm proud of my team. I think it's important to say right now, actually, I'm proud of the team. Under very difficult circumstances, have really pulled together as a group. Leaflets are starting to go out. And our message is a positive one. We're not trying to be nasty. We are just pointing out, and it comes down to accountability. Holding people to account for what they do and say is not negative. It is giving you the information that you need. I'm incredibly proud. I'm honoured to be interim leader of HBFI, something that we hopefully, if the members want me to be, I will continue at our next AGM. In the meantime, I wish Ryan and Sam the best of luck, and of course I wish all candidates the very best. And you know, it is just politics at the end of the day. That there's humanity and people behind those faces and those leaflets. So be kind. We have to get our message out there. When you see people on your doors and delivering leaflets, if you don't want to read anybody's leaflet, just put it in your recycling bin. You know, we're sometimes out with our kids and things, just delivering leaflets. We've got to get our message out there, and we are entitled to do that. We hope you'll read them, and I hope you read everybody's, so you get a better understanding of your candidates who are going to represent you for the next year. 2023 is going to be, and excuse the language here, it's going to be an absolute cluster. It's no two ways about it. 2023, we've had a minor boundary change, and all seats are up for grabs. It's bad enough in normal wards, but when you've got town councils like Horwich and Blackrod, you're just going to be scratching your head. So to give you an example, all 3 seats of each ward, so there's 6 in Horwich and Horwich North, as it will be called, and Horwich South and Blackrod, as the new one will be called. There'll be 6 in total. Now, if you think each party is going to put 3 candidates for each seat, you're talking 5-6 parties. You know, in some areas, you're going to end up with 20-odd people to pick 3 from. You're just going to end up with the toilet roll zipping away before you find the X you want to put in there. But that's for next year. Thank you very much for listening. I hope our leaflets are now starting to go out. I hope you read them. If you've got any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you very much, and I've enjoyed doing these videos. I hope you've enjoyed watching them. Thank you. Goodbye.